Hello everyone, my name is Malcolm Eastman, and today we are going to be creating a Ethernet cable, right? We're going to be crimping an Ethernet cable, right? So why is it important to understand how to cut an Ethernet cable and crimp it? I think it's very important because it gives you the ability to create custom Ethernet cables, right? Custom length Ethernet cables. And again, I think this gives you a better understanding of how Ethernet works and gives you just a better understanding of networking, right? When you're making one of the most crucial parts of networking, or at least you're crimping one of the most crucial parts to networking, which is the RJ45, which a lot of people refer to as the Ethernet cable, right? So what do we need? We need our tester, right? We're going to use our tester to test to make sure that we cut the cable right. We crimp the cable right. We put the correct wire in the correct spot. And the other thing we're going to do, we need a crimper, right? It's going to have an RJ45 slot on it. That's what we're going to need. It's got a razor cutter to cut the wire and a slot here to strip the shielding. An RJ45 jack. This is going to be our new jack that we're going to attach to our cable. Our shielding, right? And sometimes I also just keep scissors on hand just in case I'm having difficulty using the razor on the crimper. Right, and one thing I also forgot to mention, we also use these testers to test cables while we're troubleshooting. So if we're having an issue with a network, one of the things we might want to check is the cable, because these cables do go bad, right? It's a cable. Let's get a little more familiar with the Ethernet cable. So with our Ethernet cable, we have some writing on here. I want to pay attention to two sections. UTP, unshielded twisted pair. So in this cable here, we have twisted pairs of cables, right? So we got 8 cables, two cables are twisted together, which gives us a total of 4 pairs, right? Unshielded twisted pair. So we understand the twisted pair part. What does the U stand for? That stands for unshielded. An unshielded twisted pair basically means that there's no shield on it. And the reason that there would be a shield on this cable in the first place would be to kind of block interference, right? And then you go here, you see Cat5e. That's the type of cable. This is a pretty common cable you're going to see in a lot of different network topologies, connecting switches, routers, and our security appliances together. And also, you're starting to see Cat6 now more and more, and those cables are becoming more commonplace now because they're a lot faster, right? But Cat5e is still widely used. So I cut the cable and I untwisted some of these cables off camera just to kind of speed things up. But basically, when you cut it off, you cut this part off, you have to then cut the shield off to get access to the cables, right? So one thing I want to do before I forget is put on the new shield and just put that down there for later. 8 cables, right? I already untwisted them, but let's take a look. These 8 cables have to go in a particular order in order for them to work, right? So we're going to be doing T568B, right? And that has a particular order. And we got all these different color cables, right? So let's start to put them in order. So what we're going to do, we're going to look for the first one, which is going to be our white orange cable. And I found him over here. What I try to do is just separate them and move them. So, oh, I dropped the cable. Sorry. What I try to do, I try to keep them separate and move them so it's just easier to put them together. So after our white orange, right, we're going to do orange right here. We're going to try to straighten them out. And then we're going to take our white green, find white green, and just pull them over, right? And then we're going to take our solid blue and then we're going to take our white blue, which is this one, Green is next. And then brown. Oh, no, wait, sorry. Not brown. Brown's last. White, brown. And then brown, okay. Let's straighten them out. I'm trying to straighten them out best I can. Let's take a look. Does that look right? White, orange, orange, white, green, blue, white, blue, green. Oops. Okay, I think that's about right. Okay. So now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut them as straight as I can. Like right here. It looks pretty good. Again, I want to check them again. I want to make sure that I get it right. I want to do it once. I want to do it right once so I don't have to do it twice. White, orange, orange, white, green, blue. And it should be a white, blue in the middle. Yeah, it's a white, blue, and a green. Okay, so these look good. So now I'm going to grab my jack here. And I'm going to try to hold them because, again, they will. Okay, so I'm going to pull my hand out, pull my fingers down there. And then I want to make sure they all get into their slots. All right, let's take a look. They look like they're in the right spots. It looks like each individual wire got its own spot. Looks like it. Okay. Let's take our crimper and crimp it down. Really make sure you put a lot of force on there. You really don't, you want to make sure these wires don't come out. And we're going to pull up our shield and put them in. Okay, hold up. Almost got it. All right, there we go. Now, the last part is we're going to test it. Moment of truth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's look at it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we've crimped our Ethernet cable, right? So again, let's just talk about what we did. Let's go over it, right? So again, we got to make sure we have the right tools. So we got our crimper right. We're going to take our crimper. We're going to make sure that we cut off one of the ends, right? And when we cut off one of those ends, we're going to make sure that we get and separate each of the cables into the correct order, right? And this one, again, this was a 5, 6, 8 B cable that we crimped and put together. Again, we want to make sure, again, we're taking our time. We want to do it once. We don't want to do it twice, right? We want to make sure we do it more right. So we cut our cable. We separate the wires, right? Make sure we put on our sleeve right before we put the cable together. And we make sure we really, really want to make sure, let me take it out so I can show you again. We really want to make sure that we really push all those wires to those pins, because as you see these little gold pins here, if they're not touching those, you're not going to get a good connection. We really want to make sure they're in there. And that's why I stress, when you're crimping it down, you really push down. You make sure it's all the way you push it all the way to the top, and you really push it, put a lot of force when you're crimping it. So again, we get a really good connection. And then again, when we test it, I couldn't turn it on for a second. Okay. When we test it, we get perfect. We get flying colors, A+, right? So again, this has been a really kind of short tutorial on Ethernet crimping. I kind of, again, wanted to do something different. I didn't really want to jump into packet tracer. I want to try something different. So I wanted to show you a skill that I think is kind of overlooked today in networking and in IT, making your own cables. Because again, knowing how to create your own cables is going to help you a lot, because what you can do is you can buy a big bulk of Cat 5e or Cat 6, and keep that really long roll of wire in your data closet or in your office. And whenever you need a custom cable, not just for the rack itself, but for a client's computer, for a client's for an endpoint, again, that helps. You get the exact measurement for what you need, and then you make that cable that exact length. So you're not using any more and you're not using any less. You're being efficient, right? And you're not always having to rely on going on, Amazon or wherever you go to get cables. You can make them yourself, right? Self-sufficient IT for, network cybersecurity professional. Because I think this is a skill that any IT professional or just anybody, again, this is I do enjoy doing stuff like this, being hands-on, creating your own solutions, right? So again, this has been Malcolm Eastman with a Ethernet cable crimping video. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn at Malcolm Eastman, right? Search me up there. And also, you can send me an email if you got any questions for anything you've seen here or any of my past videos. Feel free to reach out, and I'm more than willing to answer questions. You can reach me at malcolmeastman.tech, right? Again, this has been a really quick Ethernet crimping tutorial, and I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you next time for another tutorial.